Hello? Hello? Hello?
Ma'am.
Nobody is there,
Good
no?
morning.
Yes. Can you hear me? Good morning.
Yes,
Can
ma'am.
you hear me, no? Wait. Thank you. Okay, now it's okay. Right. Last class I told that any of two, isn't it? One from management and one from commerce. So, has to summarize the previous lectures. Huh? Anybody can? Any volunteer? Huh? Any volunteers can summarize the previous lectures? Huh? No. Huh? Right. Let's see. Once you come to the university, that means once we have the physical lectures, isn't it? Huh? You can't simply escape. Huh? Right. Now today, we will move to the chapter 2 under the macroeconomics. Under this chapter, chapter 2 is the classical theory of output and employment, right? Output and employment. So this chapter, we are going to discuss about the introduction, postulate, sales law, classical government, that is the formal model of the sales law based on the sales law. We are going to construct the OO. We are going to explain classical theory of employment. That means how the employment and output are determined in an economy. Right? Those things we have to learn under this chapter. Studying outcomes, that means once you completed this chapter, you can able to understand the classical postulates. That means what are the postulates, how these postulates are functions under the classical economy, and and also you can able to explain the sales law using the appropriate example. There are some examples to explain that also you can able to explain, and or can analyze the class theory of employment is how the employment and production are determined, or how they are determined the wages and the quantity of the labor based on the demand for labor and supply for that is determined by the labor market. Based on the wages, the producers determine the level of those things we have to learn at this chapter. Let's move one by one. Here, introduction. Under the introduction part, here that comes had in the approach to macroeconomic issues, assured macro aspects of economy to be given. Right? As we learned in our previous lectures, there are some macroeconomic issues as well as what is there. Likewise, so under the classical economics also, they come to principles about the macroeconomic issues as well as the aspect. They provide the deductive logic, but little empirical support for their assumptions. However, they have some deductive logic method. Although they are using empirical support, practical evidences, right? Practical evidence considered themselves as you know that normally explained as but here classical economists assume that explained by the economists or intellectuals or policymakers, they considered the empirical support as for their assumption. The assumptions were called by Keynes as postulates of classical economics. To explain their classical theory or environment theory, they have some assumption based on the report. These assumptions called by Keynes is postulates the classical economics. Here there are two main postulates that classical economics. The one is the full employment. The second one is the money doesn't matter. Let's look clearly one by one. And the equilibrium. That means the economy is always the economy is in equilibrium. There is no unemployment or underemployment, right? Or there is no overproduction or underproduction. That means the economy is in equilibrium. That's also they mention here full employment as well. But you know what is full employment level? The employable resources or available resources in an economy. Here they consider only the labor as well as the capital, always fully utilized, right? Fully utilized for the production purpose. Therefore, there is no unemployment. Also, that is called the economy is in equilibrium as well, right? That means again, the classical economics maintain the full employment level of the available uh, and employable resources as well. The second one is that the second postulate is that the economy is in equilibrium. Right? You know that what is equilibrium, isn't it? The full employment of resources generates incomes. Right? On the other hand, goods and services on the other. Here, according to the explanation of the or concept of the classical economics, there is only two sectors, that is household sector as well as the home sector. The household sectors are the household sector have the factors of production. Using the factors of production, they are generating the income. That means the remuneration of the factors of production. And by selling their factors of production to the firm sector, they are getting the remuneration. And the firms are getting the factors of production from the household sector, and they are producing goods and services. And that is exchanging between the household sector as well, right? And also, the values and services always equal to, that means there is no saving or there is no investment. All the incomes that is generated by the factors of production of the household sector utilized to purchase the goods and services that is produced by the home sector and sold to the household sector. Therefore, the value of the goods is equal to the value of the goods means that is the product of the firms, or the firm has the goods and services. On the other hand, the household sector has the income that is generated by the factors of production. There is no saving or investment. Therefore, the value of the goods is equal to goods and services is equal to income. Right? You know that income is equal to goods and services, so cost is called equity. The income earners spend their entire income. Right? That means there is no saving or investment. Earners are the household sector. One household sector has idea to save some portion of their income that goes as investment to the firm sector. But here, they have to here assume they are spending the whole in to purchase the goods and services. Because of that, again, there is no overproduction or underproduction. Why? What is the reason? What is the reason? The first one is the economy is in equilibrium. The second is the goods and services, value of the goods and services is equal to income. Therefore, there is no overproduction or underproduction. There is overproduction or underproduction in the short run, it will be automatically adjusted in the long run. That means that if there is in equilibrium, that's also automatically adjusted. That is not exist in the long-term period. Right? The aggregate demand is all about the aggregate supply in the long term. Right? Again, here, the value of goods and services is equal to income. The value of goods and services are the aggregate supply, and the income is the demand. Right? Once the people have income, they have demand. Right? There is no demand. And the economy remains in stable equilibrium. Because of these things, always the economy is in equilibrium. To explain these economies in equilibrium, they have some conditions, right? The first one is the principle of laissez-faire system. Once there is laissez-faire system, this will be possible. The economy can't exist in the equilibrium. And the second one is that there is complete absence of government control or regulation of private enterprises, except to ensure free competition. Right? There is no government control or regulation of private enterprises. Once there are government regulation as well as both the private enterprises, there is no possibility to maintain equilibrium in the economy. Therefore, here, the second condition is that there is no government control or regulation of the private enterprises. That means free competition, functions as free. There is no. And next one is that there is complete absence of monopolies and restrictive rate practices. If there is any, it is eliminated by for the economies in equilibrium. That is the second postulation of the classical economists is that there is a complete absence of monopolies. Right? Also, and restrictive rate practices. if there is any, if that is there, it will be eliminated by the law and regulations. That means once we allow, or once there is monopolies, what happens? The prices will be increased, right? Prices will be increased. Or you know that monopoly means the one product that is produced by one producer, and also there is no substitute. Therefore, that monopoly market determines the price. Therefore, normally we call this a price maker. Monopolies are price maker. Whatever prices they determine based on the demand, the people react to that. Therefore, once the classical economists they allow the monopolies, it is very difficult to maintain the equilibrium of the economy. And there is complete freedom of choice for both the consumers and the producers. Here also, uh, producer whatever they can able to produce, or what product they can willing to product, they can produce. Also, consumers also whatever they like they can buy. There is that much of freedom as well. But if there is monopoly, there is no possibilities to choose the uh, commodities or choices for the producers as well as the consumers. And the market forces of demand and supply are fully free to take their course, right? Based on the market forces, that market forces are the demand of the commodity as well as the supply of commodity, determine the price and quantity of the commodity, right? Therefore, these conditions are must, or based on these conditions, the classical economics explain the postulates of the economy is in equilibrium. And the third postulate of the classical economists, the money does not matter, right? Money does not matter. Here, the classical economists treated the money only a medium of exchange, right? You know, there are four important functions of money, right? That is a medium of exchange, store of value, uh, the deferred payment, and account, right? Though there is some functions of money, here the classical economists considered only money functions as the medium of exchange, right? That means, again, you can consider under the equilibrium of the economy, the income is always equal to the value of the goods and services. Once there is other functions of except the medium of exchange, other functions of money, it is very difficult to maintain the economy is in equilibrium. And that means here again, the medium of exchange indicated here, the role of money is only to facilitate the transactions. That means the people use the money only for buy and sell the goods and services, right? No for saving or investment or other deferred payments. And also, money does not play any significant role in determining the output and employment. Again, here, the output as well as the employment also stable. There is no any significant role of the money in an economy. Here, you can understand once there is saving from the household sector, that converted or it is deposited in the financial sector. Financial sector facilitate the investor in the mode of loan, right? once there is investment by the investors, that causes to increase the production. Once the investment increases, production also increases. When the production increases, that increases the employment opportunity also. But here we consider only, not we, the classical economists consider money treated only for medium of exchange. Therefore, the value of the goods and services is equal to income of the household sector. Therefore, again here, there is no impact of money on the determination of output or employment. Once there is saving, that changes the output as well as the employment, but there is no saving, there's no changes of the output as well as the employment also. The level of output and employment are determined by the availability of real resources, that is labor and capital. Only labor and capital are determine the output as well as the employment, right? Not the saving or not the investment, right? Once there is investment and saving, if there is saving, that leads to the investment. If there is investment, that changes the labor as well as the capital. But here, there is no such type of things. And also here, the classical economics held the view an economy based on laissez-faire principles, that is we discussed earlier, is always the state of equilibrium at full employment level. To explain the full employment level, here we consider, or the classical economics consider the economy on the laissez-faire principles. Therefore, again, the economy is in equilibrium. The free market mechanism ensures optimal allocation of resources so that marginal productivity of factors in all industries is the same. Again, here we assume the free market mechanism. That free market mechanism ensures the optimal, that is a full employment level of the available resources. Therefore, again, the marginal productivity of factors, that means the additional 1 unit of product of the factors. Here we consider labor as well as the capital. That's also same, right? Therefore, the workforce is fully employed at the market wage rate. Market wage rate is determined by the demand of the labor as well as the labor supply. Therefore, again, actual output is equal to potential output also, right? Actual output also equal to potential output. That means once the labor can produce, say, 10 units of product, that is the maximum. Maximum will be produced by the labor. Sometimes there may be underproduction or overproduction. Nothing is happened under the classical economics theory. That's also explained by the postulates of the classical economics. And the money does not matter. Money does not matter means, again here, the money is only utilized for the transaction purpose rather than the investment or other things. They are utilized only for the transaction purposes. Also, the entire market system works automatically and it maintains the economy in equilibrium as well, right? Automatically, if there is underproduction or overproduction, that is not happen normally, but if it is there, that is automatically adjusted and maintained, come to the equilibrium as well. Whenever there is a deviation from equilibrium, that means overproduction or underproduction or disequilibrium, the invisible hands of demand and supply come into operation and bring the economy back to the equilibrium. Right? If there is overproduction, what happens? It's excess supply. Excess supply leads to reduction of the prices. Once the price reduce or decrease, what happened? The producers discouraged to produce their product, then the production will reduce. Once the production reduced, what happened? It's come to the equilibrium or until the demand, until they meet the demand, the production will be there. Therefore, the demand is equal to supply. On the other hand, if there is underproduction, what happened? What happened underproduction? If there is underproduction, that means excess demand. That causes to excess demand. Once the underproduction means less product and higher demand. If there is higher demand, what happened? The price will be goes up. Once the price will be goes up, what happened? The producers are encouraged to produce more goods and services. Once they produce more, the supply will be increased. Right? Once until which level the supply will increase until the demand meet the demand meet the demand of the supply. Therefore, there is two sets are there: overproduction and underproduction. Those meet each other, demand and supply, and eliminate the equilibrium in the economy in the long term as well. Right? These three postulates, right? Economy is in full employment, uh, economy is in equilibrium, money does not matter. All three postulates maintain. Hello? Right. Maintain this equilibrium again. That means you can simply understand all three are interrelated. Right? All three explain the same. If there is other functions in money, that changes the equilibrium as well as the full employment level. But if there is no inequilibrium, no equilibrium, that causes to or that affect the other two factors, right, or postulates. Therefore, these three are interrelated, or these three are explained the same. The economy is in equilibrium, the full employment level, and the money does not matter, right? And the next one is the Say's law. This Say's law is the foundation of the classical macroeconomics as well, right? What is Say's law? Again, supply creates its own demand, right? Supply creates its own demand, or supply calls for its own demand. What is mean by supply creates its own demand? Hmm? What is mean? For an example, a farmer offers his surplus produce to the weaver in exchange for clothes. Right? This is barter system. Normally, what is barter system? The goods and services are exchanged for other goods and services. Right? Once when it will happen, once the producer when the producer has the surplus, so his surplus will be exchanged to the other person. Also, the other person also has surplus in his own product. Right? This is supply creates its own demand. Or other way around, you can explain if there is overproduction or underproduction, right? As I explained earlier, if there is overproduction, the price will be reduced, the producers demotivated, and they reduce the production until the supply, until meet the demand. Therefore, this supply creates its own demand. Again, underproduction, right? Again, also, if there is 10 people in an economy, only 10 goods and services will be produced, right? Again, you can observe the value of the goods and services is equal to income generated by factors of production. That is there. That indicate supply creates its own demand. They are producing only goods and services that is equal to the income generated by the factors of production. Right? Therefore, there is no again overproduction or underproduction. If it is there, that will be corrected in an economy, right? Here, the sales law applies equally well to exchange economy, where money is used as a medium of exchange. Like you have to keep it in your mind. Money only utilized for medium of exchange. That is, goods are bought and sold with the use of money. Right? It's in an economy, exchange economy, the logic of supply creates its own demand works somewhat differently. That means production in a market is mean for sale in the market. That production, they produce goods and services and sell in the goods and services in the market. The same economy. Production of goods requires employment of factors of production, land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. These factors of production generate the income. That is, previously we learned. Employment of factors production generates money income from the wages, interest rate, rent, and profits. These are the remuneration of the factors of production. This remuneration goes to the household sector. That's come again the demand from them. By spending their money, income on the goods they produce, they created demand. Using this income, they are creating demand for the goods and service that is produced by the firm sector. It follows that if there is production, there is income, and if there is income, there is demand for goods, including demand for goods whose producing creates income. Right? Can you understand? Huh? Can you? Huh? Once there is no answer, huh? This all will reflect in your exam paper. Right? The answer, you don't worry about the answer, correct or wrong. But correct or wrong is not the matter, but you have to try to answer. Have to try to answer. Otherwise, huh? Otherwise, we also don't know that where are you. Isn't it? Hmm? Isn't it? Right. Therefore, these explanations, supply creates its own demand in a market economy. Right? Household sectors are, this is also applicable to the income circular flow as well. Right? In your A level, you learned the income circular flow. Income circular flow also explain this thing. The household sectors are the owners of the factors of production, right? They sell their factors of production to the firm sector. The firm sector give the income of the factors of production in the form of wages, interest rate, rent, and profit. Using these wages, interest rate, rent, and profits, the household sector may create the demand for the goods and services that the home sector produced, right? That here also we explain or the classical economists postulate there is no any more functions of money except the transaction purposes. That means money exchange. That means the only money utilized for the buy and sell the goods and services. That means again there is no saving or investment. So the generated money from the factors of production only utilized for the only utilized to buy the goods and services from the firm sector. Therefore, this whole money goes to the firm sector, right? Using that throughout this chapter, directly and indirectly, we are discussing only three things. Once to understand clearly these three postulates, simply you can explain this chapter, right? Here, no general overproduction or no underproduction, right? This is the main thing under the classical view. What is mean by no overproduction or underproduction? Then what is that? Then what is that? That is equilibrium. That is equilibrium. How does equilibrium is achieved, right? As I explained earlier, why there is no overproduction and underproduction. The classical reformulation of Say's law states that a capitalist economy, total supply always equals total demand. That's, I think you understood clearly. That there cannot be general underproduction or general overproduction. According to Say's, what is Say's law? Supply creates its own demand. What does that mean? The supply is equal to demand. That is, what is that one? That is equilibrium. Once the economy is in equilibrium, there is no possibilities for production or underproduction. The situation that there is no overproduction or underproduction is called equilibrium again, right? And underproduction and overproduction, if there is any, are not only transitory, right? If it is there, that is very short run phenomenon. It's transitory. That's not exist in the long term, right? And this is the explanation how it is rectified or how it is come to the equilibrium if there is overproduction or underproduction. Also, I explained again. I explained previously. Now explained it again. Right? When there is underproduction, demand exceeds supply. Underproduction means I just show in figure, right? Here I explain for the simple understanding. I explain this underproduction and overproduction using the product market equilibrium, right? For your easy understanding. Here, this is the equilibrium. If there is no equilibrium, that is we call disequilibrium. Disequilibrium may be arise because of overproduction and underproduction. If there is overproduction, that means the supply curve move outward and intercept the demand curve, something here. Assume it. Here, this is the demand. Here, this is the supply. What happened here? The supply is less than demand. Supply is less than demand, or the supply uh, demand exceeds the supply. Right? Once there is higher demand compared with the supply, what happened? Here, equilibrium price is here. The price goes down. The price goes down. Once the price goes down, rational producer don't like to produce more. That means the producers exit from the market. What happened? Again, this supply move towards here, market equilibrium, and exist in the market equilibrium. This is the situation that classical economists try to explain. Therefore, this underproduction is not stable. This is transitory, right? This is automatically adjusted like this. Right? On the other hand, if there is overproduction, right? What happened if there? Sorry, this is overproduction. If there is underproduction, what happened? What happened? The production curve or supply curve moves up, then the price will increase. Right? Once the price increase, what happened? There's no changes in the demand. The supply will increase. Supply decrease. What happened? The prices increase. Once the price increase, what happened? The producers are attracted by the higher prices and they produced more. Once they produced more, what happened? This supply curve moved towards here until equilibrium. Once it is come, what happened? This equilibrium will be maintained by the economy. Right? This is a simple mechanism to explain these things. Right? In this way, the classical economists explain the economy is in equilibrium, supply creates its own demand, but money does not matter, and also the full employment level of the available resources. Right? Excess demand leads to rise in prices, which reduces demand on the other and encourages supply on the other. Then supply curve go up. Similarly, when there is overproduction, prices decrease. If there is overproduction, price will be goes down, and decrease in price result in decrease in supply on the other hand, and increase the demand on the other. This process of demand and supply adjustment restores the equilibrium. Until restore the equilibrium, this demand and supply will be adjusted, right? Therefore, in the long term, the market economy will always be in equilibrium. Though there may exist disequilibrium in the case of individual groups in the short run. Right? Sometimes it may be disequilibrium in the short run, but in the long term, there's no possibility to the disequilibrium. Right? If there is any questions, the market economy will be always in the equilibrium in long term. Explain. How do you explain? If there is any question, that market economy, according to classical view, the market economy will be always in equilibrium in the long term. Explain. Also, the another questions. Supply creates its own demand. According to Say's law, supply creates its own demand. Justify your answer. Some other questions. How classical postulates maintain the economies in equilibrium? Right? Those are the same questions and same answer. Based on the marks, you can write the answer very clearly. Very clearly. And also, this is the process. They explain that the economy is in equilibrium, right? But we are coming from the starting point. From the starting point, the value of the total production that is equal to cost of production. This is the always they have the firm sector has the factors of production. They spend for the factors of production in the form of the remuneration of the factors of production to the household sector. Using that value, they are producing the goods and services. Therefore, that cost is equal to the production, value of the production. And the cost of production, here they mentioned remuneration of the factors of production, right? Wages, rent, profit, or interest rate. And the wage, rent, profit are the income of the factors of production. Again, this factor income as a household demand is equal to total expenditure that is spent by the firm sector to produce goods and services. Total expenditure again equal to the value of the total production. Total production is the total supply. Total expenditure by the household sector is the total demand. Right? Again, this is the good example how the classical economists try to explain the economy is in equilibrium in the long term. Also, to explain the economy is in equilibrium, they assume or postulate that the money does not matter. Again, money does not matter means only money is utilized for the transaction purposes, only for the transaction purposes, right? Right. Again, here, classical economists explain the full employment level. That means if there is full employment exists, there is no unemployment. There is no unemployment. Again, if there is unemployment, that's also will be uh, automatically adjusted. Oh, that is the temporary phenomena, right? Classical economists postulate full employment to be a normal affair. That is, there cannot be general unemployment in the capitalist economy. That's no unemployment. Full employment. Full employment ensures that actual output equals the potential output. Right? It's coming again. Supply creates its own demand. Right? Full employment ensures that actual output equals the potential. Full employment coincides with equilibrium level of output. Right? If the economy is in full employment level, the full employment level is the equilibrium output also because of actual output is equal to potential output. Right? Now, you can assume there are 103 participants. 103 participants' output is not equal to my learning outcomes, isn't it? Huh? Because almost all of you are silent once I ask the question. Or the output is not there. Therefore, this is not equilibrium. Right? Once there is 131 participants, they all have, once they all try to answer the question, that actual as well as the potential is equal. We also are in the equilibrium. Right? But one side peak, one side normally called unemployment, but that is not exist in the um, classical system as well. In classical view, total production is always sufficient to maintain the economy at the level of full employment in a free market economy. Again, the total production produced by the fourth sector is always sufficient. Therefore, also, there is no overproduction or underproduction. Or the sufficient production level is maintained. The aggregate demand is equal to aggregate supply, right? If there is aggregate supply is equal to aggregate demand, again that causes to full employment level. Unemployment, if any, again, it is temporary phenomenon. In the very short run, it may be arise, but in the long run, that is vanished. So that will be removed by the by automatically, right? By the not process, automatically it will be removed. How this unemployment, if there is unemployment exist, how its unemployment removed or vanished. Whenever there is unemployment, wages decrease. What is mean by unemployment? Hmm? What is mean by unemployment? Hmm? What is mean by unemployment? Unemployment means the people are willing to work, but there is no employment. Therefore, whatever works are available in an economy, the people are ready to work. Again, that means the labor supply is higher than the labor demand. It leads to decreases the wages. You can imagine, or practical example we can list in. Before 2 years, all the graduates, right, until December, I think 2020, right, until 20 they passed out. All the graduates were accommodated the government sector. Only 20,000 salary. Right, only 20,000 salary. They are ready to work the lower wages. Right? This causes to decrease in wages, right? But in reality, there is unemployment. The people are accommodated. More people are accommodated to remove the unemployment for the low wages. That case is different, right? The output is different, right? Just I explained that one. The people are accommodated with the low wages. Only you have to concentrate. Right? Here, in reality, for an example, development officers, most of the appointment are development officers. Um, uh, more than 20 or 50 people accommodated in each DS offices, what happened? That reduces the labor productivity, right? Labor productivity will be reduced, right? That's also there. I'll come to that later, right? If there is low wages, right, what happened? Low wages, the labor more, employment of labor more profitable. That means the producer with the low wages, the producers produce more. The labors are there. Actual labor is equal to the actual output is equal to potential output, right? Once we give higher wages or lower wages, there's no changes in the productivity. But here we are hire the people in the lower wages. Therefore, the profit is higher for the employer, right? Also, you can understand or you have to know that price of the commodity will be determined by the cost of production, right? Cost of production will determine the process. The wage is also one of the cost of production to produce the particular product. Once the wages decreases, uh, uh, price also decreases. You know, according to the demand law, once the price decreases, demand will be increases. So again, profit will be increased. This result increase in demand for labor and unemployment disappears, right? Based on the higher profit, the producer accommodate more labor, right? More labor. Once he accommodate more labor, the unemployment will be disappears. Again, this economy come to the equilibrium, come to the equilibrium, right? Therefore, again, there is no unemployment in the right. There may be a voluntary unemployment also there, right? If there is voluntary unemployment occurred or arises in an economy, then the potential workers are unwilling. What is voluntary unemployment? Voluntary unemployment? Huh? The potential workers are unwilling to work at the prevailing wage rate or at a slightly lower wage rate, right? The previous explanation here, if there is unemployment, the wages are decreased, right? However, though there is wages decrease, some of the workers are not willing to work in the particular wage rate or low wage rate. That is called the voluntary unemployment. They are unemployed, but they are not unemployment. Unemployment. Why they are unemployment? They are seeking the higher wages, and they are not ready to work with the lower wages. That is we call voluntary unemployment. Voluntary unemployment, sometimes the workers go on strike, the higher wages. At the time also, there may be voluntary unemployment. That means they are willing to work with the, because of the willing to work to the higher wages, just they are unemployed. Also, rich persons are unwilling to work. That is the idle rich. This is happening. Most of the husbands are not sending their wives for the work. But that's also voluntary. They are eligible. They are willing to work because of uh, richness and some other social factors. They are not working. Some persons prefer leisure or idleness to better life. That means once the therefore this labor supply curve backward bending, right? Right. Here, this is the labor supply. Here, this is the wages, right? Here, normally, this is we call backward bending labor supply curve. This vertical axis indicate the wages, horizontal axis indicate the quantity of labor. Once normally once the prices of the wages are increases, right? The number of labor laborers are increased. But sometimes some persons prefer lesser rather than the wages. Therefore, once he feel this is the maximum, this is enough to manage my life. Therefore, once there is possibility or once there is increase in the salary, we don't or the people don't like to work because they prefer the lesser rather than the work. Right? Therefore, this backward bending curve also there. And these are some of the reason or some of the causes for the uh, voluntary unemployment. Also, if there is voluntary unemployment exists in the economy, that's also short-term phenomenon. Once the strike over, uh, uh, they provide the normally if there is a trade union access, the trade union action should be fulfilled. Right? That means once the workers strike for the higher wages, the period they are not working. So if there is voluntary unemployment, that also short-run phenomenon. In the long run, it should be rectified and come to the full employment level. And the next one is the frictional unemployment. Frictional unemployment also may be a rise in the economy. Here, this frictional unemployment also the short-run period. That what is the frictional unemployment? Frictional unemployment means when workers remain temporarily out of job due to labor market imperfection, immobility of labor, seasonal nature of occupation in agricultural activities, technological changes, natural calamities, wars, and short. For these reasons, immobility of labor. Some places have excess vacant, some places have excess labor, but laborers are not moved from one place to one place. Therefore, during that period, they face the frictional unemployment. Seasonal nature of occupational in agriculture. You know, the agricultural production, there is a gap between production and harvest. There is a gap. Between the production and harvest, there may be unemployment is there. Right? Technological changes. The simple, good example, earlier period, the paddy was harvested by the human laborers. But nowadays, after the technological introduction, we are using the harvesters. Therefore, the people are lost their jobs. Natural calamities, that is the flood road because of the wars also. These are some of the reasons during these seasons of the this happened to the fractional or leads to the fractional unemployment. The existence of voluntary and fractional unemployment was consistent with the classical postulate to full employment. If there is fractional unemployment as well as the voluntary unemployment, classical postulates explain the full employment level. That means if there is fractional and voluntary employment, at also the temporary phenomena, right? That will be uh, eliminated or rectified or automatically adjusted in the long term. Right, with this one, I conclude my today's lecture. I have another lecture, 10:30. Right, we will continue with the rest. Is it okay? Hmm? Is it okay? There is no answer, right? I don't know.
Okay, ma'am.
There is no answer. I don't know what you are going to do, isn't it? Huh? Right, anyhow.